Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Luka's about to.
Luka needs a spot. Can anybody here draw?
If Luka gets a spot, we need somebody to represent the Clippers, respectfully.
Oh, here we go. Okay. It's Monday. This is Run It Back on FanDuel TV. I mean, we could have probably not planned this any better. Stadium Insider. I mean, we look. Stadium Insider Sham Charania. My name's Michelle Beadle. This is Lou Williams and Chandler Parsons, also with the black, coming to us from God knows where. Actually, Stagecoach. How was it?
It was a lot of fun. It's my first time. Beach Boys were great. Post Malone was great.
Can you hear the background music?
Can you hear the music playing?
You hear it? The ding 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 ding.
Yeehaw.
What was your favorite performance?
I gotta say Morgan Wallen last night. He was really, really good. He brought out Brad Paisley. It was packed. But it was comfy. I think I'm over Coachella and I'm all Stagecoach from here on.
Wow, just happened, and he didn't go, so that's that. I'm a little disappointed.
Lou didn't hit me up.
That was a game time decision. My son had a basketball game.
Yeah,
My weekend went different.
I'm starting to think you don't even have kids. These are all excuses you use to not have to be here. All right, we got a lot of games to get to. Some good, some bad, and then there's the Suns. Yep, they're out. Lost this one. Anthony Edwards leading his team. Sweep, 122-116. It's their first playoff series win in 20 years. Edwards, 31 of his 40 came in the second half. Look, Devin Booker had 49 points. Kevin Durant had 33 points and 9 rebounds, but it wasn't enough, Sham. So what happens with Vogel? What happens with this big three? Anything?
This is the third highest paid team in the NBA. They have a luxury tax player threshold of almost $260 million. They had championship aspirations, like you said, Michelle, and to get swept in the first round, that's not how this season was supposed to go. Sources tell me the Suns will consider a coaching change, at the very least adjustments to Frank Vogel's coaching staff. And Matt Ishbia put forth a 5-year, $31 million contract to Frank Vogel last year. He's 1 year into that deal. So Matt Ishbia's put in a lot of resources to this organization. He's put his money where his mouth is when it comes to spending on this team. And you look at the big three. It all revolves around Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. Those three guys never really gelled. And you can look at injuries. Bradley Beal was in and out of the lineup. They acquired him in that big trade last year. And he didn't fully excel at that point guard position. The Suns envisioned him being a table setter for Kevin Durant and Brad Beal and Devin Booker, but Brad Beal never emerged as that full force guy. And I'm told Kevin Durant had real issues with the offense, the way it was ran, and him feeling like he was relegated to being in the corner and watching pick and rolls by Devin Booker, by Bradley Beal. And so that the offensive side is something that the Suns, if they're bringing this whole team back, they're going to have to address it. At the same time, though, the onus does fall on the players when it comes to leadership, when it comes to this big three. The players not believing that they fully addressed the issue in-house, and Kevin Durant not going to the coach and telling him and really changing what was going on there. And neither of them stepped up. This is a big summer for the Suns. This is Devin Booker's franchise. This is his team to lead, and we'll see where this goes in the summer.
Okay, so let's start with Vogel, Lou. I mean, you heard he's 1 year into a 5-year deal. What do you do?
It's tough because what I saw was it was a very top-heavy basketball team. I was saying it throughout the year. It was flash without the fire. A lot of great names, a lot of great basketball players, but I think they took chemistry for granted. I think they took their health for granted. You know, guys are in and out of the lineups. I felt like they thought they had enough firepower where they can turn it on and off and flip that switch when it came playoff time. And you were looking down the barrel at a Minnesota Timberwolves team that was fully loaded and prepared to go and was ready to compete against anyone. And they showed that by that sweep. You know, that was a collective. That was a basketball team. Even the moments where Anthony Edwards is getting trapped, he's kicking that ball out willingly to a Mike Conley or a Jaden McDaniels, trusting his teammates, trusting the process of allowing other guys to have an impact on his basketball game. We never saw that with Phoenix this year. We never saw that camaraderie. We never saw that togetherness. It never looked like they enjoyed being on the basketball floor together. I'm sure it's not personal problems, but when you can't get it together on the basketball end, everything is magnified. It brings attention to everything. And so back to Frank Vogel, I think those type of things he can't coach. You can't coach guys wanting to be on the court together. You can't coach buy-in. You can only put them in a position to. And so it's a 50-50 thing with me. Obviously, when you get swept and you have talent like that, something has to be addressed, and it's usually the coach that you take a hard look at first. But I think this is both sides. I think this roster is kind of bad built. And, maybe you can make some adjustments to the coaching staff where you find something there that can help this basketball team move forward, because nobody's going anywhere.
Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, they're locked into these deals. They don't have any draft picks to play with. It's going to be hard to kind of make some trades. Obviously, Brad Beal will be somebody that's probably going to likely be the fall guy. Usually somebody has to be blamed for these type of things, and it'll probably be Bradley Beal. And
Oops.
it's just a bad bill all the way. When you get swept, everything is on the table. Everything is free game. So
I love it when teams talk smack. Oh, social media is fun. Chandler, that's the thing. Vogel's one part, Big Three's the other part. I don't know that there's much room to do anything.
I mean, it seems that Vogel might be the casualty here, but I don't think this is a problem. I think, like Lou said, when you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, that's a team. They played together. They gelled. They had chemistry. The Suns, it felt cool. It looked sexy on paper, and we thought with that big three offensively, how are we going to guard them? It just never panned out. And I think it starts with never having a point guard. That was always weird. You try to turn Brad Beal, has been one of the best two guards in the NBA. Devin Booker, same thing. You try and turn him into a point guard and take away what he does best. So I think offensively right away, the fact that they didn't make an adjustment or make a deal to get a point guard, they get Isaiah Thomas, they don't play him at all. That was kind of an issue to me. And then have a setup guy. And we talked about all year long, especially Bradley Beal. His body language, you could just tell he wasn't stoked with this offense. He was sitting in the corner. He wasn't thrilled. Even Book's body language, Kevin Durant's body language, they weren't happy, and they just never got going. They never had the consistency, and you can see getting swept now, everything's under a magnifying glass, and they're probably going to try and make a move. Or I don't think you move Frank Vogel. First year of a 5-year, $31 million deal. I don't see them getting off him. I think they try and shop. Brad Beal would be the first one that I would look at getting rid of, but what can you get back for him? But they have to build this team differently. They have to find a point guard to set these guys up, and this is crazy. This is one of the best, teams ever on paper. That just didn't work out, and it ended in a sweep that I don't think anybody saw coming.
I mean, to not even accidentally stumble into a win when you have those guys, it's kind of crazy. But there was a lot being made of their lack of resources and assets. So now what?
Yeah, I mean, this is an expensive team. Like I said, third highest payroll. Their biggest needs going into this offseason, though, they need a point guard. First and foremost, they need someone that can set the table for Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, because too often you saw Brad Beal, Kevin Durant, and really Devin Booker, all three bring the ball up, be tasked to be the point guard. And when you have other teams picking you up 94 feet and you're Devin Booker and Brad Beal, your goal has always been to be an assassin scorer, be a guy that can play make in the half-court setting. That wore them down. And getting a point guard to set the table, I think that's going to be of utmost importance. This is a team that's locked in really on 6 guys returning next year. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Brad Beal, Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, and Royce O'Neal. They want to re-sign him as a free agent this summer. They do have 2 first-round draft picks they can trade. They have this year's number 22 pick. They have the 2031 first-round pick they can trade on draft night. They also have a 2028 Celtics protected second-rounder they can trade as well. So those are the things that you can play with potentially in trades, but they have a decision to make. Do you put this all on the coaching staff and bring back the same roster? Do you tweak one or the other? This is Kevin Durant's, this is the twilight of his career right now as far as his peak. He's still playing at an exceptional level. What do? Do you have to go in a different route with him? Clearly, this is Devin Booker's franchise. He is not going anywhere.
I think what you address is Bradley Beal. Obviously, he wasn't stoked to be there. You could just tell by the body language. Send him somewhere where he can be happy and he can flourish. He can be Bradley Beal. He can go out and score 25 to 30 a night and carry a basketball team. But they didn't guard. They didn't defend anybody. They looking to going into the offseason, looking to some wing defenders, two-way point guard, somebody that can score the basketball, that can set the table and guard as well. And I think that makes a hell of a difference for this Phoenix Suns team moving forward.
What a time to be alive. Let's talk about who won the game, okay? Because Anthony Edwards is fun, and a lot of people are learning about him, I think, for the first time this postseason. Best player in the series. I ask you, Lou, can he be the best player in any series as we move forward?
He's playing like it. Playing like it. Give him credit. This was total domination. 4 straight games, Second half, he was making a living in the second half. And that game last night, he set himself apart from everybody else that was on that basketball floor and just making the right plays, making big plays. He was playing with confidence. And at the same time, you know what's underrated about Anthony Edwards? He was instilling confidence in his teammates by trusting them. Like I said, making the extra passes when he was getting trapped. And the series when he wasn't getting trapped, he was attacking the basket and he wasn't making it easy for anybody. Whether Denver's up next, whether it's the Lakers up next, whoever, Anthony Edwards can be the best player in any of those series.
Whether it's who up next?
Doesn't matter.
I know, but really, you're going to put the Lakers in there. That's very professional of Lou
to make
it sound that way. Chandler, talk about Anthony Edwards. He's fun. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Looking ahead against the Nuggets, is he going to be the best player on the floor? Probably not with Jokic there, but the fact that he was in this series with Devin Booker, with Kevin Durant, and it wasn't even close. Like Lou just hit it. He instills confidence in his teammates. He gets everybody going. He sparks everybody with the way he plays defense and offense. He's unselfish. He can do it all. And so the fact that he's doing this now on the biggest stage, and you got to give the Timberwolves credit. They are built really, really well defensively. Guys like Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, and Rudy Gobert, they can guard any sort of situation. The Suns tried to go small. That didn't work. And defense travels. And this team is a mismatched nightmare because they have guys that can score and they have guys that are committed and locked in on the defensive end. And they're the number one team in defensive team in the NBA for a reason. So looking ahead to Denver, it's not going to be as easy as people think because this team does defend and they still can win games even when shots aren't falling. So you got to give them respect. This was an insane run. No one thought they were going to be a great team this year. No one thought they were going to come in here and sweep the Suns. And they just keep proving people wrong, and they keep doing it on both ends of the floor. And it's all pretty much because of Anthony Edwards. He is their everything, and he's a star. He's reached a different level, even more so just from this series.
By the way, he was asked to name his favorite basketball movie after the game. Did you guys see that?
Oh, he said Love and Basketball.
Yeah, he didn't say his
Fun
own.
fact, I actually watched Love and Basketball for the first time a few weeks ago.
How is that a fun fact, Shams?
It's a fun fact. It's a fact and it's fun.
I can't deal with Shams right now.
I wish we had more time.
It's a fact and it's fun.
I'll let it go.
I have to throw a little curveball in there.
Good Lord. Here's something we've not done ever. T-Wolves coach Chris Finch was injured in this game. Take us through that.
Just brutal. Torn patellar tendon in his knee. Obviously in extreme pain. Mike Conley ran into him on accident. There was a collision late in the game when he was fouled by Devin Booker. But torn patellar tendon, he was on crutches after the game, getting testing done. And he's in extreme pain. Last night, he's going to be in pain for the foreseeable future. The hope is that he's going to be ready to coach in round 2, of course, and be on the sideline for them.
I mean, this is crazy.
This is a first for a lot of us.
Well, listen, he has time to rest. Has time to rest, get his brace, get his situation together. He'll be good to go second round.
I mean, what do you shoot him up with painkillers to get on the plane back? Like, how's that work?
Well, he's probably.
I'm sorry, Chandler just heard drugs and was like, I can tell you. What, Chandler? Do you want to chime in?
A torn patella. A torn patella. That is serious. Watching the replay, I don't know how it was this bad. But if he was a player, he's done for next season. Like, this is a crazy.
This is a year to year and a half.
That's
injury,
insane.
Right? This is a crazy injury. He's going to be on crutches, or maybe like a little scooter. There's going to be a situation from the head coach that we have not seen before.
Poor guy.
Does he get surgery now? Does he wait? Who knows? But this sucks. Bad timing.
Because you're not mobile, right? So he's going to need to stay planted, and then maybe an assistant coach is the mobile one. Is that what we're looking at?
Usually the
scooter. What about the scooter?
He's probably gonna need everything. He's gonna need a scooter. He's gonna need crutches.
I feel so bad.
There's gonna be some security over there to make sure nobody else runs into him.
And you know
again.
he's pissed. Like, what a dumb injury. Like, for nothing.
Could you just go with the one crutch? You think?
He's older.
But I don't know how mobile you could, because you got to be able to move fast and get out of the way, which is how we got here in the first place. But that's a rough one. But you know what?
Well soon, Coach.
The win and the sweep probably helped.
Coach of the Year finalists. Obviously, they
Yeah.
went from one of the lower seeds to one of the top seeds this year. So
limping into the second round.
Also, Mike Conley did this. It couldn't have been someone bigger.
I know. And then he looked like he felt so awful.
Full speed, but he went full speed into Chris Finch. Like, yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, that's a tough one. All right, moving on. Clippers, Mavericks. Well, this series just got interesting. Paul George, Harden, they lead their team 116-111. This thing is tied now at 2 apiece. Paul George with 33. James Harden had 33. He was fun to watch. Kyrie Irving with 40. Luka Doncic, 4th career playoff triple-double. All of those have come against the Clippers. The comeback, though, look, they were down by as many as 31 points. The fact that this even became a game, I suppose, Lou, is what we should focus on here. But how do you get down 31 in the first place?
Luka picked up 2 quick fouls within the first 3 minutes of that game, and I think that set the tone defensively for the Dallas Mavericks. And on top of that, the damn Clippers were just making shots. Big-time shot makers. Paul George started that game 19 in, I think, the first or second quarter. Right off the bat, James Harden was attacking. You know, we talked about the Minnesota Timberwolves and their team wins. The Clippers are turning that corner, and they're getting a lot of production from a lot of guys. Amir Coffey is giving them good production. Norman Powell, Terrence Mann, Zucci Man. They got a lot of guys outside of their big three with Kawhi being out that are giving them really good minutes and really good production. And listen, let's tilt our hat off to James Harden. All this year, he's been the guy that said, hey, I'm here to set the table. I'm here to facilitate. I understand my role. But the minute a guy goes out, I'm going to remind you exactly who I am and what I can bring to the table. Give James Harden a lot of credit. But Paul George has been the anchor to this and giving him a lot of production, a lot of good minutes. So how impressive was it that they got up to 31? Give Dallas credit. Dallas is a big-time shot-making team, was able to walk that down, ended up going up 1 with an opportunity to win this basketball game, but the Clippers held on by James Harden getting hot again in the fourth quarter.
I mean, Chandler, what'd you see from this Mavericks team? This is y'all's little bet here.
This is the best series going so far.
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, they scored 16 points in the first quarter. They were brutal, and Paul George went absolute bananas. And I think the Clippers, when you look at their offense without Kawhi Leonard, they're not deferring to him. They're not getting their guy that's been their best player all year long, trying to rally around him. When he's out, they're rocking. And now, like Lou said, they get something from Terrence Mann, from Norman Powell, from Amir Coffey. So it's almost a more balanced attack. Everyone's doing their part. And James Harden, people love to talk shit about him when he plays bad in the playoffs. He's been unbelievable, and he's always been capable of scoring. He's always been a ball-dominant guy, but now he's taking care of the ball. He's setting up other guys. He's being aggressive when he needs to. PG, I said, had an insane first half. He's hitting tough shots. So the fact that they only scored 16 points in the first quarter, you can't get down. You can't get down that bad. There was a valid comeback. It was crazy how they even took the lead and had a chance to win this game. How bad they looked early. I thought this game was over. I thought they were dead.
Yeah.
But the way they play, Kyrie Irving was unbelievable. Luka was unbelievable. The way they play, they're never out of a game. But they can't do that. They can't score 16 points. Which then they gave up 16 points in the third quarter. So they defended, and they were a totally different team in the second half. So this was I respect the comeback, but when you get down so much to a team like this that's too talented, that's hard.
Yeah, I mean, there were some blowout games, so it was easy to think, oh, here's another one. But then it turned into something. What did you take away from it?
James Harden being the maestro of this team, and here's the stat for you. He's got one of the best true shooting percentages of any player in the NBA playoffs, rivaling Nikola Jokic, 72%. I mean, when you look at his stats, 33 points, 7 assists. He had 15 in the fourth quarter. To me, he's been the best Clipper so far in this series, the most consistent Clipper so far in this series, arguably the best player in this series, the way he's been playing. And you saw just the adjustments that the Clippers made. For whatever reason, defensively, the Clippers decided to go to more of a drop coverage in games in 2 and 3. And that meant it was lob central for the Mavericks. He's Lively and Daniel Gafford and all these guys getting dunks. And then they went back to switching. They played switching style defense in game 1. They went back to that in game 4. I think that was a big adjustment Ty Lue and his coaching staff made. And when I think of James Harden in past playoffs, he'll revert sometimes to maybe shooting threes and shooting step-back shots late in games, late in the playoffs. But I'm told he made an adjustment in this series. He knows that there are avenues open for him to get the floater off. He did that, and he's been working with one of his trainers, Chuck Ellis, out of Philadelphia. And
Chucky Ellis.
And he made sure he went into this series making the right adjustments. And we saw James Harden make 2-3 floaters late in the game last night. And he was living on that.
And he was playing chess. He knew Luka had 5 fouls, couldn't really guard him how he wanted to. They were seeking out the switches, and he was just attacking them, going downhill. And like you said, lob threats. Zubac, he's a lob threat. So every time James Harden went downhill, Gafford had to respect that, and he was able to use that to his advantage. And then when you're done with James Harden, you got PG making tough shots. You know, I think, listen, when it comes to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they are 2 of the top 10 players in the NBA when healthy. And what we're seeing now is a healthy Paul George. We're seeing somebody who's not laboring on his shoulder, who's not laboring on his feet, the issues that he's had over his career. He's healthy and he's playing like it.
13 points, 5 of 6 shooting for James Harden in clutch time, Chandler. Look, he's got his own set of
All
narratives.
floaters, by the way.
Yeah, and they were fun to watch. Like,
Look at this.
What'd you think?
I loved it, and I love that he was aggressive. I love that he was attacking Luka, making him play both ends of the floor with him in foul trouble as well. And listen, he's always been one of the most elite scorers. He can do it all. I do think he settles sometimes with his step back, but these floaters, this looked like the same play over and over.
5 straight floaters. He putting folks to sleep with floaters.
It's crazy, and he's always been able to lull you to sleep. And again, he usually settles with those step back, but I think he knew he had a mismatch with Luka. He knew he was trying not to get a 6th foul, and this was just a great performance. He's going to need to have performances like this, especially with Kawhi Leonard now. It's similar to the Milwaukee when Giannis was out. Dame's got to be the guy. There's no such thing as a bad shot. This is going to fall on these two guys, and they do have the luxury of being deep. They do have a deep bench, so that helps when they have a guy out. But this is James Harden and Paul George while Kawhi Leonard are out, and last night they were both efficient. They were smart. They got to their spots. They didn't turn the ball over too much. And these are experienced guys that James Harden has something to prove. All he needs on that resume is a championship. So he seems to be locked in. He seems to be committed. And they need more of this, especially with Kawhi Leonard out.
I mean, look, they've won the 2 games where Kawhi's been out. That's just a fact. I'm not saying anything about it. But Paul George had that 3 with 2 minutes left that was basically the lead for good. I mean, if you're a Clippers fan, this was about as good as you could expect, right?
He was making shots at a high level.
Insane
high level. Elite shot making. Elite shot making and bringing this home in front of your home fans in a pivotal game 5. This is going to be key. He's going to have to bring this home with him, and I'm sure he doesn't have a problem with it. James Harden is going to have to bring this home with him. These guys are going to have to get deep in their bags in order to get this pivotal game 5 win. I like their chances with these guys playing like that, but it's going to come on the shoulders of James Harden and Paul George making these type of shots.
It's got to, Chandler. It's got to. They have no choice.
Yeah, I mean, that shot in the corner, that's insane. I think we're sitting here today talking about how bad of a shot it is if it didn't go in, but he had a rhythm. He got going, and again, there's no bad shot for him. So he needs to be aggressive. He needs to continue to do this. And the Mavs are going to have their hands full now going back to LA.
Second quarter, hits a 3, and then does the PJ Washington pose from game 3. Yeah, who doesn't like this, guys?
We love it. That's what playoff basketball is about. Talking trash and getting into it, getting each other's heads and making sure you pay for any little thing that you put on the board, you're going to pay for it. I love this.
Yeah, I'm petty, and this is all.
I mean, that's great.
You start this, and then you do this, and then it's going to bite you in the ass sometimes. And people don't forget. Guys will not forget. And now PJ Washington is probably going to be a play later where he's going to do it back to him. And the Mavs, when it changes, and I love this. This year, these teams seem like they don't like each other. Westbrook has brought so much intensity and physical, and so I love the fact that banter, it goes back and forth. This is what it's all about. This is why it's an exciting series to watch.
Yeah, I want my playoff teams to dislike each other. That's the way it should be. But Kawhi, as we mentioned, they're 2-0 without him. Do we see him back in this series?
The expectation is Kawhi Leonard is going to miss more time here with the knee inflammation. The Clippers actually made the decision as an organization after seeing Kawhi Leonard play in games 2 and 3 to shut him down for game 4. And until they feel like he has enough mobility in that knee, he's been dealing with inflammation. That's the same right knee that he had a torn ACL in 2021. Last year in 2023, he had a torn meniscus on that knee. So this is something where Kawhi Leonard has to manage it. And you can afford to give him time. The way James Harden's playing, the role that Paul George is playing, those two guys showed in game 1 and game 4 that they can lead this group and they can win. And I think there is so much confidence internally with that Clippers organization in the locker room with T. Lue as the head coach that they can figure out the right adjustments, the right style around these two guys, because it's really led by them. You saw Paul George yesterday. He led it. He started off the game hot, and then James closed it. That's a recipe for success, and I think they're going to have to continue to play on here without Kawhi Leonard. Better
without him, if he's out there hobbled and not giving you much. Kyrie, if you weren't paying attention to this game yesterday, social media kind of blew up because it was almost like people remembered who Kyrie Irving is. And here's a moment where they were down by 31. This gets them back into the lead. Lou, does anything surprise you that he can do?
Look at that. Not at all.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, it's been over at least 5 or 6 years where publicly all NBA players have said Kyrie Irving is one of the best finishers in the game. And this finish right here to take the lead This was exciting. I literally stood up off of my couch and got up. I was a absolute fan last night watching this basketball game because we were watching some of the best players in the world compete at the highest level that you can imagine, trying to get a win. And Kyrie Irving was right there at the top of the list with the best of them.
I mean, just insane shot making. It wasn't even just that layup. He had insane shot making all night, and I got to give the Mavericks fans a lot of credit. I was looking at the score a few times, of like watching the game in the first half, and they were down 20, 24, whatever, and the Mavs fans were hyped.
Yeah.
Like maybe they knew something we didn't know. Like this team was making a comeback, but Kyrie Irving obviously kept them in the game in the first half. Shot making ridiculous.
It was a good game. It turned into a good game. I thought we were headed to something bad. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, another good game. Knicks, Sixers, Bucks, Pacers. That's next when Run It Back returns.
Run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back.
Well. Knicks, Sixers. Yep, Knicks won. Brunson leading his team to a 97-92 win. They now lead that series 3-1. Playoff career high, 47 points for Brunson. OG Anunoby had his 16, 14 rebounds. Joel Embiid finished with 27, 10 rebounds. Only 1 point, though, in the fourth quarter. But let's start with Jalen Brunson. Performance of his career, given that where it happened, how it happened, what it was?
It's hard for me to say no, right? And I was thoroughly impressed with Jalen Brunson from start to finish of this basketball game. He was by far the best player on his court, led the Knicks to a big win, and it was just timely shots. Every time they needed a big shot, he was there. Every time they needed a big stop, he was involved in the play. He was just from top to bottom, he was the best player. Now, is this the best performance in Knicks history? I don't know. That's
like
up to Knicks
playoff
fans.
Knicks history?
Yeah, you'd have to tell me that, Beadle. For me, the biggest Knicks memory I remember is Allen Houston making that shot down in Miami and running down the court and doing a fist pump. Other than that, I would have to refer to you for.
Don't refer to me.
For Knicks history.
We beat them in '99 for a championship. Let's not get it twisted. I'm still a Spurs fan. I don't want to get.
But you would know more Knicks history than I would.
Yeah, I mean, look, the fact that it's even being talked about in that kind of context, Chandler, and this is the same season in which we heard that Jalen Brunson's too small and that he'll always be the second best, yada, yada, yada. And now we're literally having a conversation of where does this rank in all-time Knicks playoff history?
It's ridiculous. And the fact that when Julius Randle went out, his plate got even more full and Jalen Brunson got better and he got more aggressive. And 34 shots, that's a lot of shots. So the fact that he's doing this and getting to his spots and has the cardio and the confidence just to continue to keep getting to the basket, drawing contact, and he plays so physical. And Jalen Brunson he's took this team, this city, this league just by absolute storm. Fans could not love him possibly anymore. And listen, he is their guy. He is dominating. The way he plays, too, you can't slow him down. Such a big guard. He gets in the paint. He kind of holds you off on the side, and he does whatever he wants, especially to these smaller guards like Tyrese Maxey. He can't guard him. He's too big. He's too strong. So again, I'm with Lou. I don't know if the Knicks history like that or performances, but goddamn, this is pretty insane. And that atmosphere, this is one of the most physical series I've ever seen in my life. They are letting them play. They are banging. They are all over the place. It is just back and forth. So the fact that he's doing this at that pace, with that physicality, and he's still going up, almost putting a 50 ball to get this team back up 3-1. It's insane. It's just the kid, and you know what it is? He wasn't this prodigy. He wasn't this guy that was supposed to be so good. He's just worked extremely hard. He's outworked everybody. No one thought he was going to be this good in Dallas. Dallas could have got. I always think back to Mark being able to sign him for like $55 million. What a bargain that would have been. But he just continues to get better, and he's not the fastest. He's not the strongest. He's not the biggest guy on the court. But he just plays the right way, and he plays hard. He continues to work hard and just get better every single game. He keeps getting better.
And we just wouldn't have. I just don't think we would have ever seen this Jalen Brunson though had they signed him in Dallas. Like this, he's where he's supposed to be. I really think that. Like the vibes, the other players, there's a camaraderie there. But this was a game in Philadelphia. You would not have known that necessarily if you watched this one. What did y'all do? But Embiid was pissed. He only had a point on 0 for 5 shooting. That was in the fourth quarter. Look, we can start figuring out blames here. It's hard to say, but I mean, what is he, 3 for 18 in the fourth quarter in the series?
Look, we have a saying at the end of the day, when you step inside the lines, that means you're healthy enough to play. That means you're healthy enough to enjoy the spoils of being the best player. and you're healthy enough to take the criticism when you're not playing at an elite level. Joel Embiid just hadn't been good in the fourth quarters, and that's the reason they're down 3-1. He got to be better. Got to be more efficient. Got to put more pressure on the defense. I know he's dealing with some issues, but he's out there, right?
Yeah.
So he got to put himself in a position to be more successful. I know they're trapping him with his back to the basket, and it's putting him in a position where he's having to face up. He's having to settle for jump shots, but it's just his impact hasn't been there. And so now I think this is a time where you're looking at a Tyrese Maxey who's turning the corner, who's being able to get to the rim, put a lot of pressure on the defenses at the rim with his finishes. Joel Embiid, maybe start using yourself as a decoy a little bit more.
Okay.
You know, just start trying different things. Become more of a picker. Getting Tyrese Maxey loose. Maybe space the floor out. Go to the three-point line and get the Hartensteins and the Mitchell Robinsons out of the lane to open up those driving lanes for the Oubres of the world, for the Tyrese Maxeys and those guys to have bigger impacts. Because right now, they're not getting it from Embiid being inside of the paint, being in the lane. You got to space the floor out, give them some different looks right now.
It's tricky, right, Chandler? Like, Nick Nurse is in a weird situation because, as Lou mentioned, he's healthy enough. He's out there, so you're healthy enough to play. He played all 24 minutes in the second half. We just mentioned the fact that he had a point in the fourth quarter, but you can't sit him. But what do you do? I mean, do you need to give him more rest? Like, how do you handle this if you're Nick Nurse?
I mean, this is a guy that had 50 points a game ago and that we were praising his master getting fouled and drawing contact. So the fact that he's not doing this in the fourth quarter, getting to the free throw line is more disappointing to me. I know he's getting double teamed. He's seeing coverages he's not seen very often. And the Knicks, again, they're very physical this series, and they're letting him play. So I think his knee, you can see, Joel, he's not running. He's not himself. He's still finding ways to dominate. But in the fourth quarter, it's like the Celtics need Tatum and these guys. That's when they have to shine. That's when he has to be his best. That's when he's got to demand the ball. And like Lou said, even if it's not him scoring, play through him on the elbow, play through him on the off the block. But he's got to be their guy that even if he's not scoring, which I think he should be more aggressive, at least getting to the free throw line, he's got to be doing other things. But you also got to look at guys like Tobias Harris. Where's he been? Kelly Oubre has been kind of up and down. Tyrese Maxey has been the only real consistent player on this team this series besides Joel. So the other guys.
Kyle Lowry's out there doing things.
Yeah, like Kyle Lowry's their third best player in the series. It's ridiculous. So we can point, and I do think we got to give Joel a little bit of grace with coming back with his injury. And you can see he's running, he's limping, like he's in pain. So the fact that he is, but on the flip side, like Lou said, he's playing though, so we can't just keep pointing to that, saying he's not healthy and praise him when he has 50, and then when he does, it's got to be, you got to go both ways, right? So I think he's done enough, but he's got to be better in the fourth quarter. He's got to demand the ball. He's got to get to that free throw line.
And it's putting Nick Nurse in a crazy position because you play him all 24 minutes, and it's like, well, he needs a break. Obviously, he's getting fatigued. His knee is giving him some issues, but it's the moment that he goes out of this game, they literally lose leads.
They do.
Right? So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. You have to find something. These guys got to play better. The supporting cast got to play better and be able to survive for 5 to 7 minutes when Joel Embiid is out of the game to give him that break that he needs, to give him the rest that he needs to be able to close out these games. I
mean, even the announcers yesterday, because they're plus 34 when he's on the floor, minus 37 when he's off. And even the announcers yesterday when he was off and the Knicks start to go off a little bit, he was just like, they have to maximize every time that Joel Embiid leaves. But I like your idea. Maybe figure out a different roles for him, start tweaking it up a little bit. And Shams, if they go back to Philadelphia, we're going to have to send you out there for the FMB chants that are happening in Philly. That was shocking to see, by the way.
Yeah, come on. That's a version of Philly I've never seen before. Philly, we got to clean that up. We can't let nobody come in Philly and do this.
I mean, I've been to Nets, Sixers games. I've never seen.
Not like that.
I've never seen, like, obviously they're close by, but that's
an infestation. It kind of pisses me off. Yeah, you were not happy.
You know, one thing that I'm thinking about, the tickets are probably slightly cheaper in Philadelphia than they are at Madison Square Garden. So a lot of Knicks fans don't mind taking that train ride or that hour, 15-minute drive down to Philadelphia for a slightly cheaper ticket.
Plus, it was an afternoon game. You make a day of it. You could be back in your own bed at night. I mean, it was just set up to be the perfect infestation of Knicks fans. It was fun to watch. Bucks Pacers, not as fun to watch this particular game, I'll be honest with you. Pacers beating them 126-113. They now have that 3-1 series lead. Franchise record 22 threes. Miles Turner finished with 29, Tyrese Halliburton with 24.
Oh, my.
Brooke Lopez had 27, and Chris Middleton had his 25. It's weird because I think we kind of thought Milwaukee was weird to begin with, then they get all these injuries, but they're 7-2 against this team this season, including the fact that they won 3 straight. Look, it's hard to even dissect this series because you don't have Giannis, you don't have Dame Lillard, you didn't have Portis after about 7 seconds.
We won't have to dissect it long.
Yeah, like, is it Pacers? Is it just Bucks are hurt? What is this?
It's a combination. I think the Pacers have played well against this team the entirety of this season, and it's carried over into the postseason. And now that Milwaukee is limping into it without 2 of their best players, it's gonna be hard for them to fight back at this point. The Pacers, they have confidence moving forward now. They feel really good about closing this series out. You know, when you have a Dame out, when you have a Giannis out, that changes the entire dynamic of your organization. That puts Chris Middleton in a position to be more aggressive, puts Brooke Lopez in a position to be aggressive. Bobby Portis can't afford to get ejected in the first quarter when those guys are out. They just got to be smarter than that. It's looking like the wheels are falling off for the Milwaukee Bucks right now, and the Indiana Pacers couldn't be in a better position.
That's going to be, I bet you can't wait to have to talk about that all offseason, Shams. But luckily for you right now, the Giannis and the Dame of it all. Are we seeing anybody back? So
Damian Lillard over, in Game 3 he suffered an Achilles re-aggravation. He's been dealing with significant soreness in that Achilles for the last few weeks. He's been playing through it, but he was diagnosed with an Achilles strain. So it's not a full tear. There's no tear, but he does have a strain in that Achilles. Giannis Antetokounmpo, we know he has a calf strain. Tomorrow's Game 5 marks 3 weeks since the injury, but he just started running over the weekend. And Damian Lillard was in a boot. He's out of the boot now. He's doing some underwater running, and he's trying to progress to doing more. But given that Game 5 is just 1 day away, there is obviously pessimism and some doubt over their status going into Game 5, especially given you're down 3-1. And the fact that Damian Lillard has dealt with this significant soreness in that Achilles, he's re-aggravated that injury multiple times, and Giannis with the calf strain, you're risking something if these guys are coming back not 100%. And the last thing you want to do if you're the Bucks is lose one of them for next season.
I gotta tell
by
you,
the catastrophic injury.
If you're dealing with underwater running right now, that means you're trying to run without putting pressure on that tendon.
Which is not good.
That's not good, right? So if he can't run on the floor, run on the court, and this game is a day out, they're in serious trouble. We probably won't see Dame this next game.
It is a wrap.
Yeah, if he's underwater running, it's a wrap. That's not something you do when you're a day or 2 out. That's something you do when you're a month or 2 out.
Yeah, underwater treadmill, that literally just means he's just trying to stay in shape without the impact, without the load of actually running on the floor. So he's not coming back. And I said last week, this team has no chance without Giannis. And now Damian Lillard's out, then Bobby Portis goes and does what he did, and now he's tossed. They're doomed. And it's unfortunate because they had so much potential, and the whole drama around bringing in Rivers and the inconsistency and the injuries. Again, like Sham said, you can't risk bringing Dame or Giannis back and then having them out for the majority of next season. God forbid something happens. So you lick your wounds, you take your L's, you make some adjustments in the offseason, and you got to give credit to the Pacers. This team, the in-season tournament champs, they played good. They got that experience. They play unbelievably fast, and they shoot a lot of threes. So they live and die by that. Their offense, the Rick Carlisle offense, a lot of pick and roll, a lot of transition. It works some nights and it doesn't some nights. But when you have a bounce back, all 5 scorers are starters last night in double digits. You have a point guard like Tyrese Halliburton that can see the floor and make things so easy for everybody else. This team is dangerous when they're clicking offensively, and they usually do click offensively. So if they're committed to the defense, to the defensive side, and they get going, they're a tough team to beat. And clearly, they have the Bucks number.
It's crazy because I thought they were broken before everybody got hurt. Now it's just kind of sad. Like, this series is just sad. But Bobby Portis, I don't know if he's frustrated, but he did get ejected. 2 Ts right off the bat, got tangled up a little bit. I mean, yeah, this is deserved, right? We're not anybody arguing this was not deserved. Let me hear you.
He earned it.
He earned it.
He earned it, and Bobby got to be smarter than that. You know, when Giannis is out, when Dame is out, that propels you to being the second or third best player on the floor for the Milwaukee Bucks. And not only that, with those guys in the lineup, they heavily rely on your production. They heavily rely on what you bring to the table, your toughness. The reason why you're one of the leaders, the toughness that you bring to the table, offensively, defensively, everything. You're one of the better players on this team. The Milwaukee Bucks fans have fell in love with you. You're a part of the process. You can't allow somebody, especially somebody that small, to get
little.
You can't allow somebody to get. Yeah, the production doesn't add up. Like, is Nembhard going to give them what Bobby Portis is going to give them if they both get ejected? Is that an even trade? Absolutely not. So Bobby Portis just has to be smarter than this. But it's water under the bridge now. Milwaukee's in a bad spot.
Frustration levels are high. All right, take a quick break. When we come back, Nuggets, Lakers. You're up next.
Run it up, run it back, run it up.
Well, Nuggets, Lakers. Lakers avoid the sweep. LeBron leads the way, 30 points, 119-108 win over the Nuggets. That's the 11-game losing streak snapped to this team. Anthony Davis with 25, 23 rebounds. Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell's just, you can't predict it, 21 points each. They've outscored the Nuggets by 35 points in the first half in this series, and we now, of course, they're at 3-1. They've also had double-digit leads in all 4 games. This one, they finally figured out how to make that thing stick. Did they stumble upon something that they can continue?
I think it was there the whole time. Their problem is getting stops. You know, the Nuggets are a high-powered offensive team, and obviously when you have a center that can pass, shoot, do everything under the sun, he's going to put a lot of pressure on your defense when you're the Los Angeles Lakers. And in return, I think the Lakers have figured out they got 2 of the best bullies in the game. LeBron James when he's going downhill, and when Anthony Davis decides that he's going to be aggressive at the rim, they're nearly an impossible team to play against. And so I think they found that, constantly attacking the rim, putting Jokic in a position where he has to pick his poison. He's not going to be a shot blocker, so now they're putting pressure on him at the rim. This is something that the Lakers can use going into Game 5.
Can they do it tonight, Chandler?
I mean, no, I don't think so. But this series gets real interesting if they do. And Anthony Davis is also he's been great. That game he had 25 points and 23 rebounds. As good as Jokic's been, he's still physical. He's active. Like Lou said, LeBron getting downhill. This is what gets them these leads in the first half of this game. They've been up double digits in all of these games, and they kind of go away from that. But the other guys, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., they've been great as well. So the Lakers have got to get stops. They got to create turnovers so they can go and get in transition. LeBron can get downhill. And then, yeah, when they slow it down, go to Anthony Davis in the post. You have D'Angelo Russell. He had a good game last game, so now he's probably not going to have a good game next. So we can kind of predict what he's going to do. But they got to get a little bit from everything. This can't just be LeBron and AD show. And at least last game, they got 21 from Reeves and D'Lo, which is huge.
AD is one of those guys, like James Harden the same way, where they're always sort of battling ghosts of performances past. But in this particular playoff so far, he's one of the top dudes playing right now.
We just want him to be aggressive. And when he's aggressive, he's literally almost an unstoppable basketball player, and he puts so much pressure on the defenses. I think the Lakers got to take a page out of the Sixers book. Anthony Davis got to play at close to 40 to 42 minutes tonight for them to continue their season on. And I think that's a great plan when he's doing things like this, not settling for jump shots, attacking the rim. Like, look, this is constant pressure. And because of that, Aaron Gordon has to step up, and now that opens the back door up for LeBron James, and that's all because of Anthony Davis' aggressiveness.
Fourth quarter, LeBron wanted the Lakers to challenge a play that had been called off him. It was actually off KCP. It's not the play so much as the reaction and the tantrum. How are we feeling about this? Chandler, you go first, because you're laughing. Oh, my God, that's a full tantrum. Oh, jeez.
And no tech.
Last time he reacted like this, I had PETA tweet at me. I'm going to stay away from this one. But listen, the fact that he can't look at that.
What do you have to say about your Frenchie today, Chandler?
The stomping of the feet.
That's like childlike, the stomping.
Yeah, it's tough. But I mean, listen, the fact that he cares this much at this age, at this juncture is crazy. But yeah, he's got to know he's got to get trolled for this reaction.
I mean, they're also in a position to almost be swept. So I guess, but it's still a full tantrum. Like it's a jump with 2 feet stomping. Lou, why are you laughing?
That's a tantrum.
It's just funny to me. I don't have like a detailed opinion on it. It's just hilarious.
It's something. Yeah, of course he's going to get trolled. I can imagine somebody named Schmalis is going to have
The memes gonna go crazy. That's actually my first time seeing it.
Is it really?
Yes, the memes are gonna go crazy.
It was something else. I don't love this news. The Jamal Murray left calf strain. Where are we on that?
Yeah, you could see he was grabbing at it at the end of near the end of game 4. I mean, calf strains are it just depends on how serious that calf strain is. Is it a real strain that is going to potentially compromise him? We're seeing what Giannis Antetokounmpo is dealing with. Guys that deal with these calf strains, it's not just going to be a couple days. And so we'll see. The Nuggets, I think, plan to see how Jamal Murray feels today.
All right.
And see if he can play. But he is questionable.
He's in tonight. Questionable, they just playing a little
He's got to be in.
If it's doubtful, it's different. Questionable, he plays. That's my expert
He needs
opinion.
to play.
If not, Reggie Jackson, you're up.
Oh, it'll be a good one. We'll take a quick break. Daddy! I just want to throw a tantrum right now. Come back. Run it back. Returns. Oh.
Run it up, run it back, yeah, run it up.
These men all have families, you guys. Let's start with Anthony Davis on Peyton Watson.
There you go. That's what we need.
Should have been
More
and one
of
probably.
that.
That's what we need. All pressure on the rim, AD. Don't settle for nothing.
He's been dominant. I mean, you got to give him credit. He's been dominant.
It's hard to say anything negative. I really don't think you can. And
We
be
just
taken
want more of
seriously.
that. More of that.
Ooh.
Oh,
This
that.
series is, what is this series?
It's
It's on
what's the count? in
Snapchat
this series?
TV, so we
Garbage.
can't see it, Michelle.
What?
What's the count? What's the count?
It's 2-2.
Is it?
2-2
Yeah.
going back
2-2.
to
It's
Cleveland.
been
And they've been
really
blowouts.
one-sided
Okay.
in each city.
I'll take y'all word for it.
When I say garbage, Lou, I'm being nice. It's unwatchable. It's damned unwatchable.
I think we're gonna get a good finish.
That's because you're nicer than everyone else, Shams. Here we go.
Get out of here, PG. Come on, man. We at the finger roll phase of the.
Dang.
We at the finger roll phase, PG. Get out of there.
Yeah.
That was
James
nice,
Take
Gafford.
the James Harden floater right here.
Yeah,
Don't
we
you-
gotta.
don't
Come
hurt yourself.
on. We over the line, PG.
That's got to feel good, though, if you're I mean, that's still Paul George. That's kind of awesome.
I agree.
Jared Allen again. Jared Allen's the star of the
Here we go.
the segment.
Old brother number
I mean,
one.
both losses,
Love the
but-
afro.
He's like just looks like a nice nerd.
Jared
Well,
Allen
that's
to make it
exactly-
happen.
From all
That's
accounts,
bigger than
exactly
everyone.
they
what
say
he
he
is.
just minds his business, do his thing.
Gotta love it. I
That
think
is exactly what he is, Michelle. He's a nice.
nice nerd. I like nice nerds. Franz Wagner. Friend of the show.
Spin move. With the point.
I think the friend of the
point
show's
at
on the
him.
ground.
Don't point at him.
That's nice.
Sorry,
He
Yang.
didn't even drop
Franz
him,
Wagner,
bro.
everyone talks about Paulo Banchero, but Franz Wagner's low-key a star as well.
No, you gotta German it up, dude. Franz Wagner.
Wagner.
Boy, he's a what?
I think he's a borderline potential
He's-
star. That's all I said. I
He's
didn't
a
say.
stud.
Lou did
you
not like
did say
that.
borderline first.
Oh, I'm tweaking.
I tweaked a little bit. That's all right.
my
That's
God.
I left a couple
man.
words out.
Now that's star power right there, Sean.
Yo,
Right here.
this was nice. This was nice.
Poor Brooke Lopez.
like-
No foul on that?
Hey.
Dwight Howard throwing it in. This is crazy.
I think you guys know how we're ending this. The only way we
yeah.
could.
Yeah,
Come
this
on.
is.
Zone 4. Yes,
Dear
sir.
Lord.
I stood
It
up
was
with
a
this dunk
moment.
and the Miles Turner dunk, but this one had a
There was
little bit more
moment
power.
about right
Hey, man.
how
Yeah.
Kevin Durant
Changing up the
realized.
guard.
He's
Get out of the
South's
way.
got, the South got something to say, man. The changing of the guard.
he's silly to watch and to listen to and
Let's go.
just having a blast.
Let's go. We
I guess
love it.
Minnesota's real.
Oh,
Might have been wrong
Minnesota's
all
the
year,
real
y'all.
deal. OKC's the real deal.
Oh, who knew?
Training wheels are off.
None of
True.
us know anything.
Training
That's
wheels
what I've
are off.
learned. Enjoy the games tonight. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about them.
See you tomorrow, Chandler.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.